This tutorial should help you get familiar with the game's interface. Clicking on the choices, you'll shape the story and proceed along your adventure. Clicking on the icon above the choice will play its audio. With these arrows, you'll scroll through the longer choices. Click on this button to hide the book. Now click it again to reveal it. Click on the bottom left corner to move the book and the choices. Now click it again to return the elements to the game screen. These buttons are to manage the narration's audio. Here, you'll find the icons to manually save the game and to see the amount of fate you have left. Here, you can find the icons to return to the main menu to see the game. When you return to the main menu, the game is automatically saved to the autosave slot of the campaign. You can customize all the controls from the game option. Now, click on the first choice to begin your story, or click on the other one if you'd rather get to know the game system better. Several years have passed since Leon set out to seek his obsessions. His stubbornness resulted in a war for the conquest of Kelsinar. However, he has yet to acquire all the knowledge he needs to dominate the nation, and with time, the entire world. As part of Kelsinar has fallen under his heel, the resistance has risen to stop him. The head of the rebels has hidden in the Ismaran forest. He has called for a council to end the war and destruction wreaked by Leon. He is aware that people need a hero to inspire them if he is to gain back the trust that continues to falter day after day. The head of the rebels is none other than Raymond, the wizard who once ruled the Tower of Balinor. He turns to a ranger to search far and wide for the only person who could take on the role of such a hero, the famed Daragast Layar. As Raymond mulls over the desperate situation, he sips a glass of wine in his austere tent. He indulges in a singular, quiet moment before the volunteer for Daragast's search is called inside. And Corin, a young, green-skinned woman, steps up. She's a sylph and an expert tracker. She belongs to a new race, another failed magic experiment. However, instead of isolating herself from the world, she wishes to be part of it, so as to give her life meaning. And Corin wishes for acceptance. She longs to leave behind all the years of abuse and mistreatments. She has joined the resistance, seeking deliverance from her past.
And Corin, I'm glad you've come forward for this mission.
I want to help the cause, Raymond. Sylph replies. Where do you suggest I begin?
The most recent intel we have dates a few years back and comes from 3 different locations. You could try looking in the city of Akma, the forest of Rulath, or in Rost. Unfortunately, we can't tell which are trustworthy.
I'll depart immediately, Ancoran declares.
I'll be eagerly waiting for your return.
Ancoran bows to Raymond and takes her leave to start packing for her journey. She needs supplies, weapons, and money. But first, she needs to choose where she's heading. The walk to Rulath Forest was long. Before you is a dark maze of trees and entangled branches. You'd rather not go into the woods now, as it's evening. But you need to find Daragast as soon as possible, so you wander into the forest. The path unravels between the trees, and as you advance, you hear some wolves howling. You rush forward as the call of the wild beasts grows closer. Finally, you spot a trembling light in the distance. Perhaps the window of a cabin? You hope to get there before the wolves are upon you, but it's too late. 3 pairs of yellow eyes point your way, and you'll have to face them. Waiting means hesitating. The wolves sense your fear and the whole pack jumps on you. The strategy you'd thought up doesn't work out well in practice. You manage to pierce the stomach of the first beast, but the other two sink their jaws in your legs. They wound your calf, your thigh, and the area next to your groin. You fight desperately to get them off you, but your strength abandons you and your vision grows cloudy. You feel a warm rivulet drip down your leg and drop down to the ground as the jaws of a wolf close around your throat. The walk to Rulath Forest was long. Before you is a dark maze of trees and entangled branches. You'd rather not go into the woods. With woodland predators, the best strategy is to strike first, and quickly. You can't show any fear. You unsheathe your knives with both hands and hurl them in one single fluid movement. You hit the first two wolves straight between the eyes. The third beast immediately stops growling, turns tail, and runs. Nature's perils seem to have come to an end, but your ranger's instincts suggest otherwise. Rulath might still have a few surprises in store yet. However, you're also in a hurry to find out who lives in that cabin. You see two paths before you. One is a stone road, while the other looks like a beaten track. You close in and study both carefully before deciding which one to take. You may fall into a trap. The stone path is clearly the work of men. The other looks more like the result of animals passing by. Both could be safe, but you never know. The path is flanked by trees, but goes straight to the cabin. You're almost there when suddenly you feel the stones move under your feet. A contraption goes off to your right. Leaving no time to react, a swarm of wooden spikes jab at your tender flesh. Whoever lives in the cabin must be extremely cautious and probably set up some traps. A wooden grid with spikes hits you right on. You're not dead yet, but you can feel your life force leaving you. Your adventure ends here. With woodland predators, the best strategy is to strike first, and quickly. You can't show... The path you've chosen seems to lead away from the cabin. It keeps changing its course. You're afraid you might run into more wolves, or perhaps some other nocturnal creatures. Darkness is falling fast, and even though you're an expert, you'd rather avoid traveling like this. Your perseverance pays off. You almost didn't expect to see the cabin's light again. You've arrived directly on the opposite side. The window lights give away that someone inside is awake. Another howl echoes in the forest. You shiver and quicken your step. You're so close now that if someone opened the door in time, you wouldn't have to face another fight. You approach the cabin and breathe a sigh of relief. As you knock, the door opens on its own. Inside, the light of several candles reflects on hundreds of glass vials, diffusing a red glare. There are so many you can barely count them. An old blind woman sits at the center of the room.
I've been expecting you, Ankoran Sil.
She whispers with a squawking voice. How do you know my name?
I know many things, and I foresee others. I'm rarely wrong.
Are you a seer?
Yes.
Can you help me? You ask her, your heart racing.
It will cost you 2 golden coins, 1 for each eye.
Without a single word, you place the coins on the table. You've come prepared. I'm looking for a man, a warrior. His name is Daragast Layar.
There is no one with that name.
He's dead then. You shake your head desperately.
That's not what I said.
What do you mean?
You need to ask the right questions.
Where can I find the person who lived by that name?
That's better.
The old woman smiles and continues.
Look for him in Rost.
What's he doing in Rost?
He plays a different instrument, but the song remains the same.
You'd like to ask more questions, but the old lady raises her hand.
Rest on the straw mattress in the back of the room. You'll resume your journey tomorrow morning.
Your instincts suggest not to object, and you go lie down. The following morning, you wake up to find the house deserted, and you feel empty somehow. You resume your path right away. The village is quite rural and is mainly dwelt in by farmers and shepherds. You have no idea who to look for. The intel you've gathered is scarce. The only thing you have is your man's name. Rost's inhabitants don't seem to fear you, even though your look is definitely out of the ordinary. Perhaps they've seen strange creatures already. You ask a few people for Daragast Layar, but no one can help you. You get to the blacksmith's shed, and a grizzled man with a toned body quickly glances at you. He continues striking at the horseshoe he's working on with his hammer. The metal seems to be singing.
How may I help you?
The blacksmith asks. I'm looking for a man.
Name?
Daragast Layar. The blacksmith nearly loses his grip on the hammer.
He's dead.
Something tips you off, and you continue to press the man. I don't think so. Your reaction speaks volumes. The blacksmith threatens you with his hammer, his eyes flaming.
You'd better listen to me and go back where you came from.
The blacksmith looks down and continues his work.
The man you're looking for left long ago. I don't think he shall ever be back.
He replies evasively. Kael'Sinar needs him.
No. The rebels need him. You have no hope.
At least we fight!
And you shall die. Every last one of you.
If Daragast should ever show up, tell him he can find me in the Ismaran forest with Raymond. You turn on your heels and leave without waiting for his reply.
For years now, peace has been reigning over the continent of Hesperia. The feats of ancient heroes, warriors, and magicians will live on as legends and children's bedtime stories. Everything is back to normal. Markets and trades are flourishing, raids of marauders are rare, and brigands have mostly taken to dwell in hidden groves and forests. However, wizards have lost control over their dark experiments. The Tower of Balinor has become the cradle of new races and monstrous creatures. They now roam free in the lands of Kael'Sinar and beyond. Leon, a powerful wizard withdrawn to the shadows, belongs to this world. Leon plans to carry out his obscure designs and bring back the darkness of his own past. He had studied at Balinor under the great wizard Raymond until he decided to take his own path. Leon would never forget the people who helped him survive when he was but a boy, age 6, just as he will never forget who took him away from his family, from everyone dear to him, and from his kingdom. Now, he feels the time has come to take everything back. Thanks to his magical talent, he's mastered all of nature's elements, but he has several choices to make. He could expand his powers. The task would set him on the research of the book that would allow him to learn a new type of sorcery bound to blood. His own master had revealed to him the existence of a manuscript. Or he could look for a tomb hiding a crucial artifact, a relic containing the blood of 2 ancient wizards. They both had the power to dominate all 4 of nature's elements, just as he. Of course, he could also recruit some allies. What would be better than befriending a dragon? A hooded figure trudges through the rain, supported by a cane just as tall as him. He has just left the Tower of Balinor and has no intention of turning back. He meditates on his ambitions and craves a new beginning for his life. His heart beats madly as he steps along the path. The dull sky, laden with clouds, mirrors the torment grasping his chest. Leon has a good soul, but he shall bear no limitations to achieve his goals. He faces 3 choices. Without hesitation, Leon decides to head to Laganasan. The cold desert is an inhospitable region inhabited only by outlaws. Its border is marked by an imposing metal fence. No one has ever been able to climb over it. Several barracks are placed along it, evenly spaced, with hosts of soldiers. Each troop is numbered. The changing of the garrison takes place but once a year. A patrol sees Leon and stops him. They warn him against heading across the border alone. Leon tries to pull rank as a sorcerer, meaning to persuade them to let him through. Instead, the soldiers surround him and escort him to the highest-ranking officer.
And this is?
The captain inquires.
He wouldn't say.
One of the soldiers replies.
Talk then, or I'll lock you up.
My name is Leon. I'm a wizard of Balinor.
He speaks. What brings you so far from home?
My business is none of your concern.
You arrogant fool. I'll have you whipped before I'll throw you in the cell. Now answer my questions.
The captain of the guards is infuriated, and Leon doesn't like orders. The wizard must now decide whether to submit and start answering, or to attack. Although a great wizard indeed, Leon has overlooked a minor detail. He is not immune to fire, and triggering such a high-level spell in a room so small is simply idiotic. He burns alive alongside the others as their cries of agony rise to the sky. The flames devour the building, leaving it visible from miles away. My name is Leon. I'm a wizard of Balinor.
He speaks. What brings you so far from home?
My business is none of your concern.
You arrogant fool. I'll have you whipped. There are no secrets here at the border. Arrest him. Let's see if a few days in jail will get him to talk.
Leon is outraged by the power play taking place. He decides to act upon getting rid of his audience. Leon is fast, and the soldiers have no time to react. His hands are as quick as his tongue, and he unleashes the spell. Despite the devastating effects on his opponents, he is safe. The sorcerer smugly smirks. The maimed bodies of the foolish men lie on the ground, the smell of blood and guts beginning to taint the stale air of the barracks. Once over the border, Leon explores the area. The ground is black, as if covered by volcanic ashes, and the climate is much colder than that of Kelsinar. Under a matte gray sky, dark sand and desolation goes on as far as the eye can see. Walking his tedious path, he chances upon a lonely traveler. The two spot each other from afar, but do not try to avoid the inevitable encounter. The traveler has scaly skin, and a forked tongue darts in and out of his mouth as if he were a snake. He stops in front of Leon. "Who are you?" he asks. "Someone very dangerous if you get in my way. A friend, if you choose to trust me." "Your name is?" "Leon Munar. You may have heard of me." The other doesn't reply. His eyes open wide, and he falls to his knees. "Now I recognize you. Your fame and your past precede you. I am Therion, your humble servant." Cautiously, Leon asks him to explain. "Everyone knows of the last great wizard able to dominate the elements. What brings you here?" "I have my reasons. I should kill you for the mere fact you have seen me, but perhaps I won't." Leon's threat sparks fear in Therion, startling him. I am sure you'll find me useful if you spare me. The wizard seems to mull over the plea and decides to test him. I'm looking for the dragon who dwells in these lands. Do not question me, just answer, as I have no time to lose. You need to head north, my lord. You'll find a black hill surrounded by bones. There you'll find a cave. That's where the reptile lives. No one dares approach it. If you have spoken the truth, wait for me in the city of Snelfos. I'll reward you fairly. If you are lying, however, I will seek you out and I will kill you. How will I cross the border, though? It's under surveillance. Barracks number 7 is empty. After some time, Leon finds the hill surrounded by bones, just as the Snake Man had described it. The glacial cold is in sharp contrast with the burnt color of the dragon's lair. A strange feeling grips Leon's stomach, but he doesn't give in. He knows which way to go. A nauseating smell comes straight from the cave's center. There, he finds a huge reptile, curled up and resting. It is motionless, snoring blissfully. This is the moment of truth. Here, Leon could find a powerful and nearly invincible ally. The wizard decides to step into the cave, and an eye is soon upon him. The dragon rises abruptly, spreading its mighty wings that take up the entire den. It roars and bellows a flame upwards. The dragon is imposing. Next to it, Leon is merely an ant. Its back is covered in scales, while its belly resembles that of a snake, slimy and gross. Leon's gaze follows the coils of fire as they rise. He notices that the hill's ceiling is open to the skies, allowing the creature to come and go as it pleases. A primal fear grips the wizard's heart, but his determination prevails. The situation is critical, and he must act now. The wall of water conjured by Leon shields him from the blast of fire, confusing the dragon. Leon must seize this moment and decide whether to hurl a volley of water blasts at its head to knock it out without wounding it, or to block the movement of its limbs by summoning roots from the ground. His play succeeds, and the dragon collapses to the ground, exhausted. Leon approaches the reptile and lays a hand on its snorting snout. Leon gathers a state of utmost concentration as he was taught by the wizards of Amarin. He exploits his telepathic abilities to sneak into the mind of the now tame beast. He conveys the message that he is a friend who simply needs its help. The dragon is confused, and the wizard manages to flatter it quite easily. Despite its colossal size and devastating power, it is still just a simple-minded animal. Even though Leon has gained control over the dragon, he can't take advantage of all its talents just yet. Therefore, he decides to go back to pursue the other aspects of his plan. Now that he's established a lasting bond, he'll be able to summon the beast to his side whenever he shall want.